Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're looking at the Galaxy class. So, this is the third one I really wanted to hit just to get everything started. So, we've already done the Constitution for all three variants. We did the NX class, and then now we have the Galaxy class. So, uh, really wanted to just hit the cornerstone of what we get from the series. I know that there's the Intrepid and all that. And there are plenty of people that love um, Voyager. So we will get to that one a little later. Most of the designs and everything else, when you go to a Star Wars or Star Trek um, website, everything really gets based off of what did the Enterprise have for its stats. So whether we're talking about the original series era ships, anything that's going to be in the Enterprise era ships, and anything that comes from the next generation. So even the Intrepid will be based off of whatever the Galaxy class had. So it's either going to be a little above or a little up below whatever the Galaxy class had. So that's why I'm hitting these three first, and then we're going to start getting into some of the other ones. Um, there are uh, other alien ships and other designs I would really like to hit. I'm hoping I can find them, and they come from FASA. So I really want to try and get to some of those because as I've been doing with the Star Wars, uh, I'm hitting ships that people don't typically get to see. I do have plenty of ships here because I do have various different role playing games, and I know I have a FASA book sitting around here somewhere, and I can't find it at the moment. But I did want to get these three started so that way we have our basis. What everything else will then more or less get kind of judged off of. So, the mission profile that's listed here in Decipher's um, Ships of the Line book kind of comes down to this. Although there is a nice write up here from D6 Holocron, which is where I got this. So keep in mind, you know, most of the ships I'm getting, at least to start with, are going to be from D6 Holocron. Once I do find them, I may not have stats, or you will see how bare bones I get for my stats if I get some of these oddball ships that come from FASA. So, uh, and then you'll see the big difference on how I do it compared to what they do. Whoever's doing it for D6 Holocron has a lot of extra flavor there for the Star Trek universe. So uh, just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so from Decipher, the first true multi-role starship design in over a century, the Galaxy class starship functions as deep space explorers uh, capable of operating independently for several years. Extensive sensor capabilities and laboratory facilities, as well as diverse crews, allow the Galaxy class to engage in a wide range of scientific research. As the foremost ship in the 24th century, um, in Starfleet, the class was intended to project Federation influence throughout the Alpha Quadrant and beyond. When pressed, the class also makes an effective weapons platform for deployment in hostile areas of space. That is the mission goal of the Galaxy class. Again, Starfleet, for all the goods and the bads and all that, Star Trek in general was a very optimistic view of the future, which I think is why so many people really loved it. It wasn't always downtrodden and everyone's kind of beating up on each other and so on and so forth. And that is another reason why I, as well, had always enjoyed it. It was kind of nice to see an upbeat view of the world. Okay, so looking at the Galaxy class here, this is a Explorer type capital class ship. We do have a length of 642 meters. Ship's mass itself is 4,500,000 metric tons. We do have a size of 8 for the ship, so that is a big thing that's always been brought into Star Trek. We have an autopilot of 4D, so yes, you can, and it's shown on the series a couple times where you only have one or two people, and you can actually just tell the computer to fly the ship in a certain whatever, and it will manage to do it. We do have a crew capacity of 1,012 people with a skeleton of 101 with a plus 10. Now, passengers, we have about a passenger capacity of 200, cargo capacity of 333,000 metric tons. So we can haul quite a bit of cargo from point A to point B. Likewise, it is very useful because we do have consumables on board for about 3 years. We do have warp drive capability of 6, which is typically, I think, their normal cruising speed. And I think it was brought up on one of the episodes to say anything over a warp 6 can kind of do damage to the galaxy at large in certain space lanes or whatever else. Um, Otherwise, it can sustain a 9.2 for quite a long time, and it can reach 9.9 for about 12 hours before it needs to kind of slow down, cool off, and then do maybe some upkeep work on the engines. Now, I mentioned before, and I'm going to add this in here because I do love, and I got to change this because this has got a hyperlink onto it. I don't want the hyperlink there, and we do want that nice and bold, and we want it at a size 14 with all the other wording. But one of the things I do want to add in here, so this is going to have I will put, I like the 8 for a backup, so we're going to add in here a 8x backup and a 1x primary. So anything in the future with a lot of the ships, I think what I would do for myself to throw this into the Star Wars universe is I will always probably keep this for all the next generation and beyond. Okay, the moment we start getting into Warp 9, 9 point whatever, and some of these, it does kind of get silly because it's 9.998 or something like that. They they have it in the canon that if you hit warp 10, you can go anywhere at any point just instantaneously, which I don't think it really should happen. I know that got brought up once, so then it becomes canon, and then that's just the way it is. Because we had exceeded warp. Um, Really, we went past warp 10 when we had the Voyager, or trying to think what they called him. We had a special character on one of the episodes, and he took them millions of light years away from where they were supposed to be. And it did take a little bit of time, but it's not instantaneous. So uh, I just want to throw that out there because in my mind we shouldn't have anywhere automatically whatever. I think what they really wanted to try and run in there is it's a hyperfold, not hyperspace, not a warp drive, whatever. It's a fold drive. So, anyways, getting back onto the beaten path here, we do, of course, have a nav computer. We do have a maneuverability of 1D plus 2. So, this setting the ballpark as to where all the other ships would be in comparison. Are they going to be more maneuverable than the Galaxy class or less maneuverable? So, has a space of 9.2, hull of 6D. So now we get something that is a little bit more robust than what we have had in the past. We do have shields of 3D plus 2, and Our sensor packet. So we can do a passive scan out to 6 kilometers, an active scan out to 13 kilometers, a search out to 17 kilometers, and a focus of 500 meters. Well, look at what our modifiers are. So our passive scan is at a 2D, our active is at 3D, our search is 3D plus 2, and our focus is 4D plus 2. So even just our passive scan is about equal to what an average humanoid would be. So this really does make this a better science vessel. Weapons. Now this gives us our phaser arrays. So bringing that into a Star Wars universe could be different technology. This could be the cutting edge, but then when we look at the damage, it drops down what our damage could be for capital scale. So we have a 405-degree torso, 405-degree ventral arc. Requires just the crew of one. So as far as that goes, this is really a, you know, watching it in the show, it is very stunning to see how, we can shoot almost anywhere with just one person trying to man it, and the computer's taking care of everything else in the background. Let's see. This, of course, is going to be capital scale, has a fire control of 2D, and it does 4 damage, but it can fire 5 rounds or 5 times in one round as either a standard, a continuous, a pulse, or a wide beam. So, thinking of it in that regard, compared to some of our big Star Wars vessels, this is not as much damage, but you can shoot 5 times compared to just that one shot. Okay? Uh, and yes, it is not as much damage, but we have more fire arcs here than what we typically get in Star Wars. So, just throwing that out there. I know that this is really centering on the Star Trek side of it, but because I'm bringing this into using this with the Star Wars game, there's always going to be crossover references here. Um, okay, so we do have the 2 Type 10 phaser arrays. So again, this is going to be a 405-degree torso or dorsal, torso, and a 360-degree ventral firing arcs. Oh, my poor mind. Okay, crew of one. So again, it's just that one person needing to fire all of this stuff. Fire control of 2D. And this is located on the engineering section. So it is concealed when the ship is not separated. So essentially, if we separate the ship, this is what we have, these fire arrays. Again, it's a fire control of 2D, fire rate of 2, so we can shoot twice in a round, and damage is 4D. And we have 8 Type 10 phaser arrays. We have, we're just, because it's always been wherever we needed it. Fire rate is 1, damage is 4D. So think about this. We do have 2 different weapons that we can use pretty much any time we need. And one of them can be fired once per round. The other one can be fired 5 times per round. That is pretty significant. We have 3 photon torpedo launchers, 1 forward and 2 aft, which is kind of backwards from what I was thinking it would be, but whatever. Engineering section. One of these is going to be under the saucer section. My lord, I cannot speak this morning. And it's going to be concealed. So it's going to be available whenever we separate the saucer section from. That doesn't make sense. Remembering where these shot out from, that doesn't make sense, but we'll go with it. Okay? Because I always remember it being from the engineering section of the ship. So, anyways, going on from there. Crew of 1, of course. We have fire control of 2D. There are 275 Type 2 photon torpedoes. They do 4D damage, and we can shoot 10 of them at one shot. So that we can do a spread of 10 of them. and that's going to be pretty devastating. We do have two Class 2 Delta projector beams, one forward, one aft. These are going to be used for trying to haul other ships or asteroids or whatever else. We have a fire control of 2D, strength of 4D plus 2. And let's see, we have a tractor beam for bringing our shuttles. And of course, we have shuttle bays 1, 2, and 3. This will be starfighter scale. Fire rate is 1. Fire control is 1D plus 1, and a strength of 3D. So and this is where a lot of extra breakdown comes in that they have done on D6 Holocron. We have crew quarters. We have 950 basic, 385 expanded, 110 luxury, 55 unusual crew quarters. We have 42 decks, 180 escape pods with a capacity of 6 beings in each pod. This was commissioned roughly about 2356 according to Earth Reckoning. We have 6 transporter pads with capacity of 6 people on each, 6 emergency pads that can do 22 personnel on each pad, 12 cargo bay pads that can haul 400 kilograms on each transport. Now we have complement of 25 shuttlecraft, 12 shuttle pods, 60 probes, and yes, it does have a captain's yacht. So we do have a little bit more right up here. I'm not going to go through all of this. So much of this has been covered by so many other people. And as far as that goes, I want to bring this into, spend more time trying to give stats and all that. So you feel compelled to look this up and maybe even get your friends into wanting to do this as a D6. I really champion the D6 because even if you as a game master or a referee or however you want to call yourself, if you're the only one that has the books or whatever, unlike Dungeons and Dragons and some of the other ones, especially when it comes to leveling characters and that, your friends don't need the books. As long as you have a copy, whether you print it out and make it a physical copy, which I always enjoy a physical copy, or you just have a digital version on your computer or your phone or a tablet so you can take it wherever you need it. All you need is one person actually with a copy of the book. Everyone else can easily level up their characters, and you can kind of go through things just with one copy. And that's why I love the D6 so much. So, with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you enjoy the series. It's something I wanted to bring in, trying to get everything going. It's going to be a lot of chaos here for the month. Even after the month, we will throw these in from time to time. There's a ton of Star Trek stuff out there. I have a website that I know of where people have created their own, and it is in traditional Star Trek fashion or whatever. But to be able to bring that over, hopefully they can see it, and then they can see their creation into a D6 version of it, so they could maybe play this game as well. So, with that, thanks for visiting. Hope you have a wonderful day. See you in the next video.